Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, we have got a new generator up here at the barn now. I'm going to go over this generator. I bought it with my own money, and I'm going to kind of explain the reasons why I bought this one versus all the other ones available, both new and on Marketplace. Welcome to Man Time. Man, I sure do like this little beaver chair. But the generator I went with is the Westinghouse WGen 9500 DFC, right? This is one that's commercially available through, I think I ended up getting it through Home Depot. I went on Lowe's, Home Depot, and also Amazon, just scouring to see, what was out there. I don't know that the shipping is still free on generators from Amazon. I wasn't quite sure about that, but maybe it is. But this one was, free pickup at store. They did have to order it in. They didn't have it on the shelf. But it runs on gasoline and propane. So on gasoline, it's 9,500 running watts, 12.5 peak watts. Propane, 8,500 running watts, 11.2 peak watts. The reason I got this one is actually going to serve as a whole house backup. It has got 9,500 running watts. That's enough electricity to run a lot of the stuff in your house, right? And I'm planning on having a plug that'll go straight to the box that I can shut off main breaker if the power goes out, turn on the breaker for the generator, and then just run the generator to power the breaker. I'm not going to go with a switch automatic unit and all that. I'm just going to use a regular breaker. Plumb the wiring into that, but it's got a 50 amp service coming out of it. So, it's got a 50 amp, a 30 amp, and then 4 20 amp 120 plugs. So you've got two 240s, which are the 4-prong, which is, between two of the legs, it's 240. Between two of the legs, it's 120. Other two of the legs, it's 120, and then a ground on there is the way that 4-prong one works. Man, electrical wire isn't getting any cheaper, is it? Holy smokes! So I bought two different plugs, the 50 amp plug, and then the 30 amp RV plug, the twist lock kind. I bought one of those so I could make like a extension cord for the 30 amp one, and then also be able to tie into that 50 amp one. But let's just go through this. Oh look, I got a bonus item. If I go and leave a review, I can get a free cover for it. That's pretty cool. Well, that's how you incentivize reviews, right? But this is an unbiased review. I paid my own money for this. Looking at what was out there, and the reason I got this one, I guess, is the main thing I wanted to talk about. Looking on Marketplace, there was quite a few there was the 65 or the 6,000 Generacs. I saw quite a few of those. Some of them with like almost 100 hours, others with 6 or 8 hours, but the problem with generators, you don't really know how old they are, right? They could be a few years old, they could be several years old, and they could have old gas sitting in them and just carb varnished up and everything like that. I've got a bunch of 2x4s and wood, and I'm starting to build out my utility room, and I need something to power stuff. Now I've got a 18 volt and 20 volt like power tools, cordless. So I'm going to be using those for a lot of it. But I do need to charge, this scissor lift, right? At some point I'm not going to trailer it back and forth every time. So I'm going to kind of put together a couple things that I need to do like during the day, run some power tools and stuff like that, and then also charge the scissor lift at the same time, and kind of have a couple different things planned while this is running, right? But the problem with the bigger ones like this one is the fuel consumption. This one has a 400 and something cc engine, where those smaller ones have like a 200 cc engine. So the 200 cc engine is going to, of course, use less gas. This one has a 6.5 gallon tank on it, and it's supposed to last 12 hours on that 6.5 gallon tank. Some of the other ones have a smaller tank, and they last about the same amount of time. So the fuel consumption on this one is going to be more. But everything smaller didn't have the 50 amp service where I could tie in and really run the house if there's a power outage or the majority of the things in the house. That 50 amp gives me the ability to do that. The 30 amp, you're getting pretty close with the 30 amp to running everything. But I think with the 50 amp and the 9500, I may even be able to run like an AC unit with that amount of power. So, I mean, that was the goal, to find something that would run, an AC unit. Because when the power goes out in the summertime, oh my goodness. I experienced that this summer when the power went out for a couple of days, and no AC when it's 100 degrees and only low in the low of 80 at night, and humid, and oh god, it was unbearable. I've actually got a video on that one called True Grit, man time. But yeah, the ones available used were questionable, and they weren't really the power ratings that I was looking for. They were basically 6,500 and below. Now there was a smaller model Westinghouse. I think it was 75. I think they have a 95 and a 75 with the dual fuel. There was one of those available, but all the used ones were like $700, $800, even $900 if they had a low amount of hours on them. So for just this one was $1,050. I think $1,050. So for just about $100, $200 more than a used one with unknown, whatever. I mean, I can fix anything, but the ability to just have something new and for not that much more money, it's the time savings, the troubleshooting, the being able to start it when you need it, being able to maintain it right from the get-go, from new. I definitely like that, and the cost difference from used wasn't that much. So that's why I went with this one. Let's unwrap it and unbox it and do a first startup on it, maybe. All right. Keep that cardboard. You're going to need that to start your wood stove. All right, what do we got here? Oh, some assembly required. Oh, another nice thing about this one, it has the never flat. They're just plastic tires. Ooh, actually they are kind of rubbery with a harder plastic inside. So that's nice. Yeah, these are like a molded, softer type of acrylic. Ball bearings, very nice. It's got our propane hookup, also very nice. We'll just keep that in there for now. We'll inspect it for damage. What else do we got here? Oh, look at here. Okay, more assembly required. And they've even got 1030 engine oil. Will I use that? Yeah, probably. It's free. Man, I don't know about you, but opening up nice and clean. Wow, this is a good looking unit. Now the problem with all of these, or any of these, this one is cheaper. I did see one from, the problem is, oh, there's our battery tender. If we had power, we could be trickle charging our battery. This has got onboard, I think it even said remote start, but it's got the, engine start, on, off, all that stuff on there. Battery tender included. That's nice. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, all of the other ones that I saw, smart switch ready. Okay, that's the remote start. Probably doesn't come with that. All the other ones that I saw that were available were basically lower power, and even ones that were more expensive. Now, a lot of people are going with the inverters. The inverters have a perfect sine wave power, where this one kind of has a dirtier power sine wave for AC power. The inverters, they generate AC power, they convert that to DC and then back to AC in a controlled way, where it's a perfect sine wave. But people have been running regular generators for a long, long time, and the inverters, the power just isn't there yet from what I've seen. Inverters, they were topping out somewhere around 3,500 watts, which is, it's enough to like charge the scissor lift and run a couple power tools. But as far as like running a refrigerator, freezer, TV, sound system, being able to plug in and have lamps and fans on, and then run an AC unit, there's just no way, right? So this thing, I think, will be able to handle that, which is why I got it. 10,000 watts is basically your kind of starting point for running or 10,000 will cover just about anything. And this is 9,500 as long as I'm running it on gas. Now, it'd be nice to be able to run it on propane and not have to worry about the works coming up if you're not using it all the time. But I think initially I'm going to be running it on gasoline and then just running it out and probably putting some additive, in that gasoline as I'm running it. Maybe even a little splash of two-stroke oil in there. But let's get this thing put together. Yeah, 6.6 gallon tank. This thing is going to be heavy. Yeah, it's extremely heavy. So let's try to get these wheels on here and see. Man, the technology really hasn't advanced any as far as the shoes on there. Oh, here's the tow handle. Okay, so, it does have the remote start. Look at there. Take generator outside. Yeah, okay. On the pull cord is this. Look at there. There is a remote start on here. So I guess this is, it's got batteries in it already. So I guess we don't need the smart, so the smart switch must be where it automatically turns on if the power goes out in your house. Now, I'm not going to have that because I'm not going to have one of those, smart switches or whatever. Oil has been drained for shipping, naturally. Good. I guess we'll just put one wheel on at a time here. And go from there. Oh, look at there. Gives you a spout to fill it up with oil. All that good stuff. Alright, these are going to go on this side in the front. We'll leave one of those out. Get our little tool bag out here. And what we got. I guess we'll just pull all this stuff out here. There's some nuts and bolts. Kind of loose in here. Instructions. We don't need those. I'm an engineer with a YouTube channel. We don't need instructions, do we? Okay, so it's got, let's see here, this, which looks like it goes, through here, and holds the wheel on. I'm thinking that's going to go on there. Maybe this just goes directly through with that, and then this goes through, and that looks like what's going on there with a cutter. Yeah, that's going to be what we're doing here. Okay, and then for this side, we're looking at a bolt down type of situation. Do we have a wrench in our little kit here? Yes. We got a 10 and a 13, and that's a 10. So, what is this here? Caution, turn off propane source when generator is off. Yeah, that's just common sense, isn't it? Let's see here. Where does this go? There. the side. So, just looking over this generator, I'm already seeing some, kind of questionable quality issues going on. First being right here with the 50 amp plug. It's not seated in there all the way. There's a rubber grommet that's supposed to be inside of this cover, and it is not. It does look like the plug is installed correctly. Just this outside weather tab is not. Alright, let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. I did put a little gas in here. Oh, before we do that, a couple accessories you're probably going to want to have for your new generator. First one is going to be this NEMA L14-30P. That's going to be the 4-pronger that goes in that circular pattern, and I think this is a twist lock type of situation. I got this, and I got some 10-3 cable so I can run a 30 amp service out if I want to have like multiple things running that are above 20 amps, which I do. This is going to help out with that. And then I just got, let's see, what else did I get here? I got a metal switch box and a, let's see here, 20 amp heavy duty outlet, and also a 240 outlet, 3-prong, which is basically all the stuff that I have that's 240. And the way these 4-prong ones work, there's 2 prongs, there's a ground, right, and then there's 3 other prongs. Well, between 2 of those prongs is 240, and then if you jump, so think of it like a triangle, right? You've got 3 prongs. Now between 2 prongs is 240, but if you go from one of those prongs to the top of the triangle, it's 120, and then from the other prong to the top of the triangle is also 120. So you've got 2 options there for both 240 and 120, depending on how you route the wires. So in that plug box, you can actually go between the main 2 prongs out to a 240 outlet with your ground, or you can go between the top prong and one of those prongs and get your 120 and have 120 as a plug and then 240 as a plug also. And that's what I'm planning to do there. This big 50 amp one, same way, right? You got 4 prongs. Again, the triangle, right? Between these 2 is 240. Between this one and this one is 120. So you can have, that going to either 240 or 120 or both. If you route it that way in your, junction box or plug box there. So I got a big cable for that. This one is going to be, it just says 628250 amp, 6-foot 4-prong range power cord. So I guess this is kind of for a oven, but it fits, in this plug configuration, right? And that's kind of weird with the tire right there. It kind of pushes it out a little bit. I don't know. Something else to kind of be wary of. But anyways, there's my power cord situation. And if you can believe it, for all of this power cord type of stuff, it was about $200 bucks just for those 3 plugs, the wire, and then the 1 wire with the plug already on it, and a junction box or plug box. So anyways, I got some stuff to test with the generator here. I am going to hook up the battery. I guess that is one thing you'll have to do here. Well, that is something. I had to use a pair of pliers to get that stupid thing together. Okay. Well, I guess that's done. I did add the engine oil that was supplied with the kit. So now this will be your typical startup experience, I guess, as soon as you put in some fresh gas. Turn it on. We've got power here. Those blinked. Again, this is the first time I'm firing it up, and I want to fire it up and get some voltage to it, get a heat cycle in it. I got it on full choke, so let's go ahead and start it. Just about drained the battery doing that. Let me grab an amp meter and see what the voltage is on the battery right now. This will be good too. We can see if the battery is going to charge with the unit running, if it starts running. All right, we got right at 12 volts, so we should be good there. What I'm going to do this time, it was continually auto starting on its own, and matter of fact, there's an auto choke on the other side where each time it would choke, and then the choke would eventually come off as it was going through its starting cycle, and then it would start that cycle over again on its own, so that's pretty cool. But what I'm going to do is manually pull it over to see if we can get some gas flowing. Or maybe there's a gas shutoff that I'm overlooking. Yeah, sure enough, the gas was not on. Yeah, that's why we always read through the instructions, isn't it, kids? Okay, so I'm going to manually set the choke and pull it over a couple times, just so we don't run that battery down. But the battery was just right there at 12 volts. How cool is that? Key fob, start, stop. Okay, a couple things we learned right there. Running the miter saw, it's just a little 10-inch, but it's a 15-amp miter saw. And I've got my scissor lift charging. It can do it both from the same 20-amp port. Cords aren't getting hot or anything. I tried it with, using both of the ports. Obviously, it worked there. What else? Oh, the battery is not charging. So that's one thing to look out for. I guess you're going to have to bring a tender or something if you want to be able to utilize that year-round and have power to charge this little battery that starts the engine. But let's try the start from the key fob. Let's check our temperature. Temperature of the generator is nice and cool. Yeah, temperature of the engine is pretty good. Warm, obviously. But yeah, let's try this thing out here. We'll just hit the start button once. Alright, well, I've got my new generator here, and what I want to do is see if we can charge the scissor lift and run a compressor at the same time, and possibly even a miter saw. So, let's try this out. Pretty easy. It's got the key fob, which is really nice. Just hit start. Alright, man. Well, there we go. That was the Westinghouse generator. Again, 9500, 12.5 starting, or on propane, 8500, 11.2. I think this is the best bang for the buck that you're going to find out there, at least from my research. This is what I found to be the best generator to serve my needs, with 4 plugs there, 20 amp plugs, a 30 amp, and then a 50 amp, for whole house backup. Anyways, that's going to do it for today on Man Time. Get out there, have you some man time too.